Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Malicious Compliance. In today's episode. Sorry, I deleted all the files you told me to delete. 3 large ice waters please. Willie Nelson comes back. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Sorry, I deleted all the files you told me to delete. My job was to design and write software prototypes for individual high-value customers. If they liked it well enough, then a real software engineering team would build the real product. Occasionally, I would run the prototype for a few months while the customer evaluated if they wanted to buy the real project. Now these prototypes are not a lot of code, but they do run with a lot of data. Even compressed, it can be a terabyte or more. Having done this work for years, I've accumulated a small disk farm of past projects, which can be very useful when a customer asks for something just like we did last year, but with a small change or two. The company resisted buying hard drives for this, but it saves me so much time. I ended up buying 1 or 2 a year myself until I accumulated about 10 of them. Figure over $1,000 worth of external drives. Then unexpectedly management changes. New management thinks they can replace old software guy with a cheaper new software grad, and I am laid off, with 2 weeks to train my replacement. Yes, it's blatant age discrimination, but impossible to fight, so I just went for a graceful transition to my next job. Except, I have $1,000 of personal disk drives with old customer data on them. Company insists that no ex-employees may take any company data off premises and all files must be deleted. I don't want to just leave the drives at the company, but they insist I must delete all data before taking them home. So I offer. They can buy them from me. I will eventually use them for something else, but I can leave the data on them in case someone needs it. Not good enough. New manager insists I must delete all data and all backups before I remove the drives. Okay. That's what I do. 6 months later, I get a series of desperate phone calls. New software grad has been unable to build any new prototypes. Old customers are calling to get old prototypes updated, and new software grad has no idea how to do that. Executive VP is calling to ask what would it take to bring me back to do my old job. Sorry, I've got a new job now. And even if I didn't, I cannot just modify the old prototype because you insisted I delete all old copies of it. If I did want to modify it, I'd first have to recreate it from scratch. The code still exists in their source control, but the data is the heart of the prototypes. And that old series of 6 months apart data we collected is gone for good, no matter what. Sorry, you screwed yourselves exactly like I told you would happen. Hope whatever you saved by hiring a new grad to replace an actual experienced programmer was worth it. Many moons ago, I worked as an engineering liaison to marketing, writing prototypes we would demo during the beta phase of the proposal process. My company refused to give me access to the CM tool developers used since I was in the marketing department on the org chart. At a convention, I was displaying some of my prototypes and a local competitor offered me nearly double to take the role of technical lead on one of their projects, signed the contract, and handed in my 2-week notice. On my last day, IT arrived to wipe my equipment since I was no longer an employee. I just smiled and handed them access. Same thing happened a few months later. Where is all the prototype code? It was on my computer since I had no CM access. Did IT back it up before wiping it? We can offer you a raise if you come back. Nope. Click. I still laugh when I think about it. I had a similar experience while working as a contractor. I was brought on to work on an open source platform, a Linux-based custom CMS for call center agents at a large firm. 6 months into the contract, they decide we have to integrate with a Microsoft LDAP service. I've never touched the thing before, but I give it a try. They give me some scuffed 14 GB VMware hard drive files to boot as the LDAP server instead of an actual integration, and I can't get these things to work. Of course, we have no actual source control or documentation either. I try to talk to the guy who made them and he responds to a total of 2 emails over 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks, I get a call that I'm being let go from the contract because it's not a good sign that I can't get the development environment running, never mind that I've single-handedly built 70% of their entire platform and demoed it to them 3 times along the way. So after the call is over, they send me an email giving me parting instructions, and one of the steps on the list is to delete all files related to my work immediately and that I have 24 hours to comply. Remember how I said we have no source control? Well, I follow the instructions to the letter. Format the encrypted drive I was keeping the project on. A week later, the project manager calls me up, telling me they have a Git server now and I need to upload my code. I say, what are you talking about? You instructed me under threat of legal repercussions to delete those files last Tuesday. He just kinda sounds flabbergasted at that point. He tries to walk through not paying me out for my last month of work, and I say no, I have that time billed and labeled out for each thing I did. It's not my responsibility to make sure you have the deliverables you explicitly instructed me to delete. I got my check on time and never heard from them again. What would it take to get you back on our team? Well, for one, you can dissolve the worst management team that got you into this mess. Next, you can resign. Only then would I ever even begin to consider working for your cheap company again. Thank you for your time and consideration on this matter. I had a similar thing happen with a small architect firm. I had my own design firm, now retired, and had been designing and updating their site for about 5 years. At the end of the final year, they told me that I was charging too much for any changes to the site, even though I had given them tons of freebies, and they were going to get a younger, more hip designer that could do things faster and cheaper. They wanted me to give them all the files and delete what I had on my end. So, I sent a CD to them with all of their files, basically what was online on their server anyway, easily retrievable, and erased everything, meaning, I erased all of the code and the build files, layers and layers, for all of their online images as well. I told them to put the CD in a safe place and make sure to back it up with another one. Closed out that account, moved on. About a year later, they called me in a panic saying that the new person screwed up their site, it was not running correctly, and that they couldn't find the CD I sent them. No backup. And somehow this person also erased all of the old files on their server as well, so had nothing to start over with. Apparently she was doing a redesign on the fly and just writing over the old files without backing anything up. But they didn't like the redesign and wanted to put the old site back up until they could make a decision. But it was gone. Oops. Not my problem. Get your younger, faster hip designer to figure it out, folks. I'm out. Last time I checked, and this is years later, the old site is still up, broken. Hope whatever you saved by hiring a new grad to replace an actual experienced programmer was worth it. And I hope you said exactly that to them. What would it take to get you back? How much you make, add a 0 and then we'll talk. 3 large ice waters, please. I'd been working at a local Safeway store for a little over 8 months. Inside the Safeway we have a Starbucks as soon as you walk in. I walk about 40 minutes to said Safeway every morning and every night. After my first week, I started to get an ice water once a day from the Starbucks since no water was provided in the employee break room. Most of the workers at the Starbucks are kind and don't mind, others are clearly annoyed so much that they complain to the manager, causing her to print out a new policy effective immediately. When on the clock, workers must pay 25 cents when requesting a water of any size at Starbucks. This is to cover the cost of the cup, not for the water. A water bottle may be filled free of charge. I asked if it was alright if we brought our water bottles to fill up because I wanted to confirm. It was confirmed that any water bottle would do. So I bought a new water bottle and started having that filled. Everything was going well after 2 months until one annoyed barista decided no more. She told me not to fill up my water bottle here anymore. I was confused and asked what's the problem. She said that everyone here is annoyed having to fill up your water every day and that you never buy anything. I was stunned and said, "Alright then, sorry to bother and have a nice day." Cue malicious compliance, "Don't wanna fill up my water, huh?" Alright then, so now every time before I clock in I ask for 3 large ice waters. I don't care if they have a line or not. They can't refuse me, they can't charge me because I'm off the clock and I'm a customer who is rather thirsty. I do this 3 times a day and share the waters with some of my fellow coworkers. It's been months now and they've asked me to stop. But I won't. I made sure previously to wait until your line wasn't busy, that I did it once a day, that I asked how your day was. I just wanted some water, Linda, while I'm sweating a busting my ass. I'm sorry if I disturbed your samples of drinks you have numerous times a day. Does your employer not provide drinking water? In the US, that's kind of an OSHA requirement. They have a very small football team like Water Jug, but it's on the sales floor next to the self-checkout with condiment cups. The Starbucks is the only place to get clean filtered water. I used to always get large ice waters from my Starbucks when I worked at Safeway. Everyone knows they have the best water, and sink water at work is nasty. I think it's silly when workers get annoyed at things like that. Aren't we all just trying to get through the day while being paid? Those workers seem kind of snotty to me. I think them filling up your water bottle is a little silly and shouldn't be a rule. If it was me, I would buy 1 cup from them and have them refill it throughout the day. Or just spend the .50 and get it twice. Those of us who work crappy retail jobs need to stick together, not be another rude customer/employee. Wow, that barista really brought this on themselves. Good on you for finding a loophole and getting your water. Can you bring your filled water bottle from home? Wow, that's a clever way to get back at the annoyed barista. Good for you for standing up for yourself and your fellow coworkers. Water should be a basic necessity, especially for those working long hours. Work at a Safeway also. Washington State. About 3 months ago, a corporate bulletin was sent out about no more Starbucks waters. Can't fill up our bottles there or get water period unless you pay. Wow, that's some serious dedication for a simple bottle of water. It's great that you found a way to quench your thirst and help out your coworkers at the same time. Got to admit, I would be pissed off spending all day filling up people's water bottles. I'm assuming if you do it, others do it. Can there not be a water machine for you to use? Or use the tap? Willie Nelson comes back. I just attended a presentation about the Richfield Coliseum, an arena that was in Richfield, Ohio, midway between Cleveland and Akron, from the mid-1970s to the mid-1990s. One of the audience members told this story. Willie Nelson had finished his show, and he wanted to sit outside his tour bus in the parking lot and sign autographs. A security guard told him that he was not allowed to do that because the Coliseum's insurance wouldn't cover it, and said he had to leave. Willie got back in the bus headed out of the parking lot, and the guard went back inside the building. The bus left the parking lot, but turned back in at the next driveway, and headed for the back of the building. Willie got out with an old lawn chair and sat, drinking peach schnapps and signing autographs for the large crowd of fans that gathered around him. When the security guard came out to go home at the end of his shift, he saw the bus and the crowd, and angrily confronted Willie. I told you to leave." Willie replied, "I did. Then I came back." Willie is known for doing things his way, and the love and appreciation of his fanbase. I have been a fan of him for over 40 years. A long-time fan, but only 1/4 of Willie's career. Yep, I grew up about 2 miles from his place outside of Austin, and a high school buddy's father is his mechanic. Willie is truly one of the nicest dudes you'll ever have the pleasure of meeting. Even if they thought my GSD puppy was a drug dog, lol. I'm not a country music fan, but Willie is one of my favorite people. Neither am I, but I absolutely appreciate old country musicians. They're phenomenal storytellers. I don't seek the music out, but I enjoy it whenever I hear it. I can't listen to the vast majority of the shit on country radio these days, but I'll listen to Cash, Hank, Willie, Waylon, and Merle till I die. And that's just one of the reasons why he's a legend. Knowing Willie Nelson, I can see him doing this. Very first CD my dad ever bought was Willie's. Year after year, we would buy every album of his we could find. We are talking Brazil early 90s, so wasn't very easy. We would listen for travels and work days and hours at home. Music brought us close, Willie's most of all. My dad passed during COVID, and even during our final goodbyes Willie was there with I've Loved You all over the world. I really wish I could see him in concert, never been so grateful to an artist as I am to him. So much heart, so much talent. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.